So using the American accent is not something hard. That's why when I am asked the question, so a lot of my students ask me question like, how can I get this accent? How can I get rid of my accent, the Arabic accent? It's super easy. First of all, you need to practice and practice and practice. And we have two different ways of practicing. The first one is the frame of practicing, which means that you imagine yourself doing something in real life and you have this subconscious mind helping you out with the kind of thing you're gonna say and also the kind of answers or response you're gonna get from your interlocutor. In this case, you are kind of automatically activate your mind to come up with some solution that is native like thing. It's a little bit hard at the very beginning, I know, but basically this activates your subconscious knowledge of the language. The other thing that I usually encourage my students to keep in mind is the key, which means to make believe, to make yourself sound like a native, or even to fake it till you make it. In this case, you practice your language and you keep in mind that we are a product of two different cultures, the English culture and the Egyptian culture. The English culture is a little bit different in many cases. So, for example, when I translate in my mind the language, the accessibility of the something that native speaker would accept is a little bit weird. For example, let's say, for example, if someone does something and you need to say to thank them. So in this case, you would say thank you or really appreciate it or something like. But let's reverse it. If someone says thank you, how you're gonna respond? Anyone? Can you guess? Okay. So one of the responses would be automatically when we were out of school, we're taught to say whenever we have thank you, the response would be you're welcome, right? But this is not the only thing. So here, for example, one day someone did something and I was quite appreciative for what he did. And so I said, thank you. And here's when I'm saying, you bet. I said, what? You bet? Okay, sure. And later on, the other day, I was just keeping the door open for someone who was coming after me, and or just the other way around. And I said, "Thank you." He said, "Uh-huh." I said, "Uh-huh." And also the I guess I still remember something when I did something good to someone and he said thank you and I said thank you or he did something good for me and I said thank you and he said have a good day. Huh, have a good day. Have a good one. And usually here, for example, they don't say have a good one or they don't say something like how are you? No, they say how you doing? How you doing? And usually this is how are you? We don't I haven't ever been asked it here, how are you? Just how you doing? Or something, what's up? What's up? Something like that. How's it going? And that's it. All the three kind of greeting I receive every morning. How's it going? How's your day? Something like that. But we don't even have this. So I was the only one who said it to my colleagues. So how's it going? No, or how are you? I said, what? How are you? Yeah, sure. Well, it's going so far, so good. Or alive and kicking. And just an expression, a phrase expression which means like a baby who is still born and was born is born and is kicking, so alive and kicking. So in this case you need to keep in mind when you use the language the context of the language. So this context is a little bit weird because a lot of people would say the context is the setting, the people you're speaking to, but context is Many textbooks define that as something that is tacit, includes a lot of factors. So the people, the place, the time, the kind of power differences. If you are speaking to the head of the department, if you are speaking to a colleague or students. So in one of these cases, you have something in mind and you need to respond to that thing, which means it's quite different. It depends on the kind of people who are involved in the situation you are in, the kind of speech act you're trying to achieve by using the speech. It's not easy. Anyone would say it's easy, but it isn't. It's not at all. So in this case, it's a little bit weird when we do that because a lot of people would say no, but it's not. So when you practice the language, keep this in mind. We have the framing and we have the key. The framing, this the reality thing. This is the meta linguistic thing, not the meta message, but the key is the make believe. This is the fake it till you make it. And that's all for today, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.